Hey guys, it's Austin Gates, and I am back with another video for this whole behind the scenes thing we got going on for Still Fighting It. You can find the link to the story in the description below. It is not the revised edition though, so I will warn you. I'm halfway through revising the story. I'm pretty much just through Christmas, through all the Christmas chapters, and it's totally different. To be honest, when I had first set out to revise, I did not think it was going to be that different. There were just going to be more grammatical, spelling, mechanics, things like that. But I found myself wanting to develop things a little bit more, little aspects a little bit more, and just change a few things around that just worked better for me in my head. So with that being said, the link is below. If you wait just a few more weeks, I should be posting the entire revised story in place. I'll be replacing those chapters on fanfiction.net, and then also heading hopefully to see a published version, not for money because, well, let's be real, that'd be blatant copyright infringement, but just more for myself and more for, I mean, if anybody wants it, great. I'm sure you can order it without me making any money off of it, so it'll be fine. And I also want to publish it on ebook. I know there's a few websites that do that, so I'll probably do that for free and then get the links out to you guys. I had tried, as I did in the first video, to get some Glee videos interspersed in these videos so that you guys didn't have to keep looking at my face the whole time, but YouTube got me. I fought the man and I lost, so YouTube started blocking my videos, so you're stuck looking at my face. And apparently, looking back at these videos, something's wrong with my mic, and there's like a weird hissing sound above everything. So thank you if you guys are watching and dealing with that. I appreciate that you actually care enough to watch through having to look at my face and then having to hear that hissing. It drove me nuts, so congratulations. I appreciate you. Anyway, back to what this video is about, is the music in Still Fighting It, and how I made the decision to incorporate music and why the chapters are named that way, and things that worked and things that didn't. I guess the first thing to say is that I don't really remember where the idea came from. It had to have come early because I named the story after a song, and it had to have come when I posted the prologue because I named the prologue after a song. Part of me feels like I was just looking for some kind of song one night. For some reason in my memory, I feel like I was paging through my iTunes just looking for anything, and Ben Folds' Still Fighting It came up, and that's actually where the premise for the original confrontation with Blaine and Sam later in the story, spoiler alert, again, I gotta start saying that at the beginning, spoiler alert, don't watch it if you haven't read it, but the confrontation in the chapter Still Fighting It, I guess the idea came fairly quickly because I knew then and there, writing it, that was going to happen, and that's where the storyline, the title was going to come from. I knew that Blaine was going to look at Sam after Sam had left him and stare him in the eyes and say, "You're still fighting it," and feel disappointed in him, but also feel kind of sorry for him. So with that, I guess music just always kind of came pretty easily. And in other stories that I've written, I've kind of had soundtracks, but not, I haven't actually labeled chapters by the songs, but I think it's because when I write, I see it in my head as a movie, and I imagine moments, and oh man, I'm sorry, I just ate. Oh god, this should go on a blooper reel. Oh. Anyway, I always see moments, and I see scenes in my head as movies, and a lot of time I can pick out a song that I know I would want to be playing in the background. So I guess music has always kind of been incorporated in my writing, but not in such a strict way that was so set in stone where I named each chapter after a song. With that being said, I'm really glad that I did, and I think it worked great for this story. I think music is probably the second most important thing that kept me going and kept me writing, because aside from the reviews and the feedback and the comments that I got from so many people, music was the one thing that I could go to and get in the mood for writing or feel it. I had set the last 5 chapters. Those songs were pretty set in stone earlier, but before I'd written them. Probably right after I had written First Dance, I got the last 4 chapters in the epilogue planned out, and had the songs for them. And I think it was really good because it kept me playing those songs, whether it was in my car or whether it was just sitting around. I mean, I must have played those last 5 songs over and over and over and over. And it kept me writing. It gets me in a certain mood. When I would listen to The Ice is Getting Thinner, I could feel Sam realizing that everything that he was working for and working towards is slowly getting uneven. You know, at the same time, he's got Quinn, and Quinn is saying, I want to be with you, but he can feel himself kind of letting go, especially when he realizes why he was beating on Karofsky, and he gets scolded by his mom, which is a scene that I loved writing, by the way. And when he hears Bert give those wedding vows, that just like melts your heart. I had never, like, I'd seen that episode so many times, but when I read the wedding vows rather than listening to them on the TV, I mean, those wedding vows are solid, and to see that Sam heard all those wedding vows and knew that Quinn was great, but Quinn just wasn't what he wanted. That killed me, and I think The Ice is Getting Thinner is just a phenomenal song for that kind of mood. At the same time, it was immensely easy writing Here Comes the Sun, and it was great. I loved writing that because you saw Blaine come back and you saw him pretty much forgive Sam, even though it was a little too easy for my liking, but I think it worked for the timing and who Blaine is. But having that song there the next day and seeing Quinn come over and just kind of be like, oh shit, you look like crap, and then just kind of pick him up and clean him up and get him going again, and then to have that assembly, I don't know, the song just really fit well and really helped me write. Some other songs that I really loved and that just seemed to nail those chapters dead on were Sleigh Ride. I think that really, like, the Reliant K version was really good about being playful and fun and interesting. Christmas Time Is Here was actually an instrumental song, but I think it worked out really well because of what they were talking about with Blaine's brother and everything that had gone on. King of Anything, I think, was probably the song that lyrically worked best. It was great to have that song because I feel like if I were Sam and this relationship were a real relationship, I can see Blaine feeling so, I don't want to say in control, but he's always seen Sam as someone who needs mentored, and I think he would fall into taking care of Sam almost too much, to where Sam is just like, lay off me, I don't need your help all the time, there's no one here to save, I'm fine. So I can really see that. I really love that song worked perfectly. And then Gone was heartbreaking, but I love that chapter for the drama, but the song worked out great. And I actually met Ian Axel at a dance show. My best friend who lives in New York, I had lived in New York for 2 years, and then I moved home, and I went home to visit, and she took me to this dance show, and I don't really, no offense to dancers out there, I just don't get it, but that's where I heard his music, and it is phenomenal music. You should check out his YouTube pages. I think he might have one. If he does, I'll link it in here somewhere. But that song was perfect for what I wanted it to be. I don't know if I mentioned that the dance show played songs by Ian Axel, and that's why I'm okay. Anyway, this is probably the worst video I've done yet. Thanks for hanging in there, because I'm a little too lazy to go back and restart. So all those songs I feel like really worked out well. I'm really happy with those songs. I really like The Rush too. That was a good one. That really fit in perfectly with what I wanted. Anyway, at the same time, I think there were some songs that didn't work out as well. And probably those were the chapters that were the hardest to write, and those were the chapters that took me the longest to start after. I think music was probably the one thing that held me back, because when I was writing, I wanted to have the song picked out before I started writing, because I knew that I liked having the song as a guide, both in the text. I think there's only a few songs in the book that aren't referred to in the text. Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas is one of them. Christmas Time Is Here. There's some other ones, but for the most part, those chapters, mention the song titles or the song lyrics, or in some way have the song in the text of the chapter. And I loved that I could do that. And one of the things I did not want to do was go back after I'd written the chapter and pick out a song randomly and then try and add little text in there. I didn't want to do that. So I'd always picked the songs first. And then when it came to a song that I just couldn't figure out what song to use, and I just kind of settled with one, or one kind of worked, so I went with it just so I could start writing. I think those were the songs that didn't work out as well. Probably Beautiful Letdown, Shattered, a lot of the second part. The songs weren't bad, they just weren't the perfect song. For First Dance, I had never intended to have that dream sequence in there, but it was added and it kind of worked. But really, First Dance was more supposed to be a fun chapter, but I found myself keeping Sam too far away from Blaine, and it wasn't working. So I think I like the song First Dance a lot, but I don't know if it fit necessarily. And then there were other songs that I had to go back and change because of my 3 rules. And when I first started writing, I knew that I was going to do songs, I picked 3 rules that I knew I didn't want to break. And one was no Broadway. I had just come home from being a musical theater major in New York, and I changed my major, became a PR major, and I knew that I'd know a lot of musical theater, but I didn't want to use it. I think sometimes it's hard to separate the story from the song, and sometimes there's names, and I just wanted it to be really reflective of Sam, and I didn't see Sam being someone who jumped into musical theater. The second rule was no songs that Glee had already done, and I only broke that once, which was in chapter 8 with Taking Chances. And then the third rule was no duplicating artists. So once an artist was done, that artist was done. And I only broke that rule once, and that was with Ben Folds. He was in chapter 6, which was Still, and chapter 26, which was Still Fighting It, whatever chapter Still Fighting It is. Now, since I've been revising, I actually went back and replaced those 2 chapters, Still and Taking Chances, with different songs that I still feel are good. They're by different artists, and it still works. And that was more of my own ego and pride, wanting to stick to my 3 rules and not give up on that. So you will see in the new version of the story that those songs did change. And so really, I think overall, music was a good decision. I'm really glad I did it. I think that a lot of people liked it, and I'm definitely going to keep doing it. Again, I know I mentioned it in the last video, I do have a new project coming up that is very Blam-centric, and it is highly, highly centered around music, but in a totally different, more creative, more difficult way. It's not in any way, shape, or form like the music that we see in Still Fighting It. Hopefully the music put you guys in somewhat of a mood if you guys listen to it, and it helps you get the mood of the chapter. I did post the link, or I guess I'm not gonna, right now there should be a caption somewhere there for you to click on a link, and it should take you to a playlist that playlists the entire YouTube playlist. It should have all the songs in the soundtrack. So hopefully you guys will enjoy that. If you haven't heard any of the songs, or if you're interested in one of the songs and you just never got around to listening to it, it's all right there. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the music. I really enjoyed using it, and it's definitely going to come back around in other projects. We are now pushing a 14-minute video. If you guys are still here, God bless you. Actually, if you're still here, you should probably comment and let me know that you're still here, because I don't think anybody's going to still be watching this. Next up, I do have some really cool things. Oh man, I didn't even mention about the songs that got cut. I'll put that in the next video. There's songs that got cut that are really cool, and I want to make a playlist of those songs, because there were a lot of songs I wanted to put in but just did not fit right. So I'm going to put that in the next video, which is all about the ideas that were actually cut from the story. Different ideas that changed, different ideas that were totally happening and then got cut on, left on the editing room floor. So thank you guys for watching. I really do appreciate it. I don't know if I would be watching this if I didn't know me. So if you guys did watch it, fantastic. I hope you guys enjoyed.